So Elon Musk actually fascinates me. You know, he's a person who recently took over Twitter, and it's been like a month of just kind of chaos and calamity and confusion, and that's kind of what everybody expected when he took over Twitter. But what's really interesting is I lived in Los Angeles, I think for 8 or 9 years of my life, and Elon Musk has always been like total chaos, confusion, and calamity. There's never been a time that he hasn't been. You know, the people who work for SpaceX are very much like computerized drones who, you know, worship him and think he's the greatest thing since like, you know, banana pudding or something like that, that he's just the greatest thing ever, and no matter what, he does no wrong. You know, he's considered a massive genius, but I don't know how smart he actually is. He does things that are kind of like stupid and backwards sometimes, and you have to wonder what in the hell's going on in his head. And I give him a lot of leeway, you know, because supposedly he is like savant, he is a genius. His IQ is supposed to be really, really high, and of course he's the richest person in the world right now. But he does some crazy stuff. Like whenever I lived in Los Angeles, he burrowed all these different tunnels all underneath the city without permission of either the local government, the state government, or the federal government, because he was actually going to get a federal contract to do like high-speed transportation underneath the city with these cars. They'd get in these tubes. So he did this, and he had no kind of like pushback from anybody. He never got the permits to do it. He never got permission to do it. He did all this stuff kind of like haphazardly, and they just kind of said, well, it's okay because it's Elon Musk and he's such a brilliant man and he's doing this for the greater good. And if he can cut down on traffic by him doing this, then it's a win-win-win. Well, you know what? They shut down those damn tunnels. 12 years of him digging all these tunnels underneath Los Angeles, and now nothing's happening with it. And what's so interesting is there's earthquakes that happen there. You know, if there was a tsunami that would happen, actually those tunnels underneath would actually like create more chaos and havoc for the actual area, because you would have like structures collapsing in because it would give way just like a sinkhole. But he gets a pass because once again, like I said, he's supposed to be like super smart. He's supposed to be like this savant, you know, this like really, really, really ingenious person. But the new thing he came up with that's kind of like irked me a little bit, because I don't think he's as brilliant as people think he is. I think he is probably pretty smart. You know, he's definitely somebody, he's very charismatic because he gets away with a lot of stuff that he shouldn't get away with. Digging tunnels underneath Los Angeles County, that was crazy. It's actually like dangerous. The fact that he got away with that and there was no consequences is mind-blowing to me. And the only reason I think that it kind of like got a pass is I think he must have been connected with the Department of Defense, and they must have had some kind of involvement with it to say, this is why we're doing it. Because it makes no sense why they would do it. But the thing that he's doing now is he's actually going to start implanting computer chips in people's brains so they can actually interface with their own computers and with computers at work. And that's kind of like the whole RoboCop kind of thing again. But what's so interesting about that is we think that cannot go wrong. Let's say that I'm somebody that I'm going through a breakup or something like that, and I'm having like negative thoughts about somebody. If I have like a computer chip in my brain that's actually connecting to other computers and connecting to computers at work, me not being in 100% control of that computer, or that computer not having 100% control of me, or having 100% control of me, is a very dangerous place. I could be going through a breakup, it could see this person as an enemy and do stuff to actually destroy person's credit, release information on a person, hurt the business, and people act like this would never happen because these safeguards are in place. That's absolutely asinine to think that way. There is nothing on this planet that is 100% sure, perfect, can never fail. If you're going to put computers in people's brains, and Elon Musk is deliriously happy about this because it's actually like his grand plan to make superhumans, because he wants to take superhumans to Mars. He actually wants to create a colony there because he actually knows that with climate change and other things that could happen, that the Earth actually probably is like on its final days. He probably knows this, and that's why he's wanting to do this. But whenever you're like linking up with a computer, and a computer is linking up with you, and there's not anatomically separation, that's a very scary, scary, scary thing. Let's say that you're doing this with somebody who's a general, and they're like connected to computers that can launch nuclear weapons. We actually think that would never happen. It could absolutely happen. You could have a general who's thinking how much he hates China or how much he hates Russia. It could launch nuclear weapons. And Elon Musk, the only thing I can say is sometimes I think a lot of the stuff he's doing is for the Department of Defense, because why else would you be doing these crazy things? You know, we all have smartphones. There's very few people in the United States of America, and really most of the world, that doesn't have a smartphone. Usually that's all you really need. You don't need to have a computer chip in your brain to connect with your computers and connect with your work computers. Why would you need to do that? You know what? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Elon Musk is a pretty smart guy. Like I said, he's very charismatic because he gets away with a lot of stuff that I don't think that most people would get away with. But this is a bad decision. Whenever you are connected to a computer, maybe you could override the computer, but the thing is, the computer would probably override you. You could have the best of intentions, but what's to say that the computer looks at you and sees that there's some kind of defect in you and it doesn't shut you down? And this is what's so interesting about this, because Mark Zuckerberg, you know, the guy who created Facebook, he actually, when he started his whole metaverse thing with the virtual reality, he actually had headsets that if you died in virtual reality, that it would actually have the ability to shut you down in real life. And actually, the Department of Defense was curious about this, and I'm not making this up, but they actually decided, well, that went too far. Well, if they had the ability to do that 5 years ago, they have the ability to do that now. And to think that computers wouldn't be able to end somebody's life is absolutely ludicrous. Humans can die 1,000 different ways. And there's certain things that could happen, you know, very traumatically that could end a life, but there's things that could happen very calmly that could end a life. It's a very bad decision what Elon Musk is doing. Putting computer chips in humans' brains, we don't need to have superhumans. What we need to have is better humans. There's a big difference, Elon Musk. I get it, you're very, very rich. There's a lot of people who bow to you and think you're the greatest thing since peanut butter and jelly. But like I said, there's things that I question about you. There's things that don't make a lot of sense to me, except there must be Department of Defense behind it, or there's other things at play here. Why would we need to put computer chips in people's brains to make them interface with their computers or with their work computers? Why would we need to do that? Why would Mark Zuckerberg need to create virtual reality where if you died in the game or you died in that reality, you could die in this reality? That's absolutely absurd. You talk about this stuff and you think, well, this isn't real and this is like sci-fi. This is real, and you could actually look it up and you'll be like, holy shit, this can't be right, but it is right. Question when you have these people who are ridiculously wealthy. And what Zuckerberg, he's like the 5th richest person in the world, and Musk, he's like the richest person in the world. Find out what their motives are, because I don't think their motives are as real and as true as what they're saying. Why would you need to have the ability to end somebody's life unless there was actually other things at play that you wanted to have that ability? Computer chips in people's brains is a really, really, really bad decision. It's a really horrible decision. Don't do it. Don't do it.